每天练习英语听、说、练，与我们一起提升你的语言技能。完成后，在我们的应用程式里多加练习。免费，连结在下方。开始练习吧。
Jake is a truck driver. Jake is a truck driver.
Jake 是一名卡车司机。
Jake is a truck driver. Jake is a truck driver. Maria drives a big rig every day. Maria drives a big rig every day.
Maria 每天开连结车。
Maria drives a big rig every day. Maria drives a big rig every day. Tom checks his truck before he starts. Tom checks his truck before he starts.
Tom 出发前会检查他的卡车。
Tom checks his truck before he starts. Tom checks his truck before he starts. Linda looks at the weather before her trip. Linda looks at the weather before her trip.
Linda 出发前会查看天气。
Linda looks at the weather before her trip. Linda looks at the weather before her trip. Ben plans his route with a truck GPS. Ben plans his route with a truck GPS.
Ben 用卡车专用导航规划路线。
Ben plans his route with a truck GPS. Ben plans his route with a truck GPS. Zoe calls dispatch for her load details. Zoe calls dispatch for her load details.
Zoe 打给调度询问她的货载细节。
Zoe calls dispatch for her load details. Zoe calls dispatch for her load details. Nate picks up freight at the warehouse. Nate picks up freight at the warehouse.
Nate 到仓库提货。
Nate picks up freight at the warehouse. Nate picks up freight at the warehouse. Carla delivers pallets to a grocery store. Carla delivers pallets to a grocery store.
Carla 将站板货送到超市。
Carla delivers pallets to a grocery store. Carla delivers pallets to a grocery store. Omar waits at the loading dock for his turn. Omar waits at the loading dock for his turn.
Omar 在装卸月台等候轮到他。
Omar waits at the loading dock for his turn. Omar waits at the loading dock for his turn. Priya signs the bill of lading. Priya signs the bill of lading.
Priya 在提单上签名。
Priya signs the bill of lading. Priya signs the bill of lading. Raj straps the load with heavy straps. Raj straps the load with heavy straps.
Raj 用重型绑带固定货物。
Raj straps the load with heavy straps. Raj straps the load with heavy straps. Kim covers the flatbed with a tarp. Kim covers the flatbed with a tarp.
Kim 把平板车盖上帆布。
Kim covers the flatbed with a tarp. Kim covers the flatbed with a tarp. Dave slides the tandems at the truck stop. Dave slides the tandems at the truck stop.
Dave 在卡车休息站调整拖车双轴位置。
Dave slides the tandems at the truck stop. Dave slides the tandems at the truck stop. Nora scales her load at a cat scale. Nora scales her load at a cat scale.
Laura 到 cat 地磅站过磅。
Nora scales her load at a cat scale. Nora scales her load at a cat scale. Luis checks the tires and lights. Luis checks the tires and lights.
Luis 检查轮胎与灯光。
Luis checks the tires and lights. Luis checks the tires and lights. Anna sets the trailer's landing gear. Anna sets the trailer's landing gear.
Anna 放下拖车的支撑脚。
Anna sets the trailer's landing gear. Anna sets the trailer's landing gear. Hugo locks the trailer doors. Hugo locks the trailer doors.
Hugo 把拖车门上锁。
Hugo locks the trailer doors. Hugo locks the trailer doors. Victor checks the fifth wheel for a good lock. Victor checks the fifth wheel for a good lock.
Victor 检查第5轮安座是否锁紧。
Victor checks the fifth wheel for a good lock. Victor checks the fifth wheel for a good lock. Paul watches his mirrors in heavy traffic. Paul watches his mirrors in heavy traffic.
Paul 在拥塞车流中留意后视镜。
Paul watches his mirrors in heavy traffic. Paul watches his mirrors in heavy traffic. Tina keeps a safe distance on the highway. Tina keeps a safe distance on the highway.
Tina 在高速公路保持安全车距。
Tina keeps a safe distance on the highway. Tina keeps a safe distance on the highway. Lily slows down in the rain. Lily slows down in the rain.
Lily 下雨时减速。
Lily slows down in the rain. Lily slows down in the rain. Jack turns wide at tight corners. Jack turns wide at tight corners.
Jack 在狭窄转角加大转弯半径。
Jack turns wide at tight corners. Jack turns wide at tight corners. Ryan uses his turn signals early. Ryan uses his turn signals early.
Ryan 提前打方向灯。
Ryan uses his turn signals early. Ryan uses his turn signals early. Emma keeps both hands on the wheel. Emma keeps both hands on the wheel.
Emma 双手握好方向盘。
Emma keeps both hands on the wheel. Emma keeps both hands on the wheel. Noah wears his seatbelt at all times. Noah wears his seatbelt at all times.
Noah 随时系上安全带。
Noah wears his seatbelt at all times. Noah wears his seatbelt at all times. Ava keeps her speed under the limit. Ava keeps her speed under the limit.
Ava 保持车速在速限以内。
Ava keeps her speed under the limit. Ava keeps her speed under the limit. Mia rests when she feels tired. Mia rests when she feels tired.
Mia 觉得累就休息。
Mia rests when she feels tired. Mia rests when she feels tired. Leo takes a 30-minute break as required. Leo takes a 30-minute break as required.
Leo 按规定休息30分钟。
Leo takes a 30-minute break as required. Leo takes a 30-minute break as required. Ella follows the hours of service rules. Ella follows the hours of service rules.
Ella 遵守服务时数规定 HOS。
Ella follows the hours of service rules. Ella follows the hours of service rules. Liam uses an ELD for his logs. Liam uses an ELD for his logs.
Liam 用电子记录装置 ELD 记录工时。
Liam uses an ELD for his logs. Liam uses an ELD for his logs. Chloe updates her ETA with dispatch. Chloe updates her ETA with dispatch.
Chloe 向调度更新她的预计到达时间 ETA。
Chloe updates her ETA with dispatch. Chloe updates her ETA with dispatch. Lucas calls the receiver for the gate code. Lucas calls the receiver for the gate code.
Lucas 打给收货方索取门禁码。
Lucas calls the receiver for the gate code. Lucas calls the receiver for the gate code. Grace arrives early for her appointment. Grace arrives early for her appointment.
Grace 为了预约提早到达。
Grace arrives early for her appointment. Grace arrives early for her appointment. Mason waits in the driver lounge. Mason waits in the driver lounge.
Mason 在司机休息室等候。
Mason waits in the driver lounge. Mason waits in the driver lounge. Ivy checks in at the shipping office. Ivy checks in at the shipping office.
Ivy 到出货办公室报到。
Ivy checks in at the shipping office. Ivy checks in at the shipping office. Dylan backs into dock door 5. Dylan backs into dock door 5.
Dylan 到车道5号月台门。
Dylan backs into dock door 5. Dylan backs into dock door 5. Ruby watches her blind spots while backing. Ruby watches her blind spots while backing.
Ruby 倒车时注意她的视野死角。
Ruby watches her blind spots while backing. Ruby watches her blind spots while backing. Tyler asks for a spotter when needed. Tyler asks for a spotter when needed.
Tyler 需要时会请人指挥。
Tyler asks for a spotter when needed. Tyler asks for a spotter when needed. Aria sets her parking brake before loading. Aria sets her parking brake before loading.
Aria 装货前拉起驻车刹车。
Aria sets her parking brake before loading. Aria sets her parking brake before loading. Owen chalks the wheels at the dock. Owen chalks the wheels at the dock.
Owen 在月台放上轮档。
Owen chalks the wheels at the dock. Owen chalks the wheels at the dock. Maya checks the reefer temperature. Maya checks the reefer temperature.
Maya 检查冷藏机温度。
Maya checks the reefer temperature. Maya checks the reefer temperature. Alex fuels the truck before sunrise. Alex fuels the truck before sunrise.
Alex 天亮前给卡车加油。
Alex fuels the truck before sunrise. Alex fuels the truck before sunrise. Sarah pays with a fuel card. Sarah pays with a fuel card.
Sarah 用加油卡付款。
Sarah pays with a fuel card. Sarah pays with a fuel card. Henry washes the windshield at the pump. Henry washes the windshield at the pump.
Henry 在加油岛清洗挡风玻璃。
Henry washes the windshield at the pump. Henry washes the windshield at the pump. Bella checks oil and coolant levels. Bella checks oil and coolant levels.
Bella 检查机油与冷却液的液位。
Bella checks oil and coolant levels. Bella checks oil and coolant levels. Jason reports a check engine light. Jason reports a check engine light.
Jason 回报引擎故障灯亮起。
Jason reports a check engine light. Jason reports a check engine light. Nina calls road service for a flat tire. Nina calls road service for a flat tire.
Nina 因爆胎打电话请道路救援。
Nina calls road service for a flat tire. Nina calls road service for a flat tire. Kevin places safety triangles on the road. Kevin places safety triangles on the road.
Kevin 在路上摆放故障警示三角牌。
Kevin places safety triangles on the road. Kevin places safety triangles on the road. Paige turns on her hazard lights. Paige turns on her hazard lights.
Paige 打开双黄警示灯。
Paige turns on her hazard lights. Paige turns on her hazard lights. Mark waits for a tow truck. Mark waits for a tow truck.
Mark 等待拖吊车。
Mark waits for a tow truck. Mark waits for a tow truck. Julia sends photos of the damage. Julia sends photos of the damage.
Julia 传送受损照片。
Julia sends photos of the damage. Julia sends photos of the damage. Eric completes a post-trip inspection. Eric completes a post-trip inspection.
Eric 完成收工后检查。
Eric completes a post-trip inspection. Eric completes a post-trip inspection. Alice writes defects on the DVIR. Alice writes defects on the DVIR.
Alice 在驾驶车辆检查报告 DVIR 上填写缺失。
Alice writes defects on the DVIR. Alice writes defects on the DVIR. Brian schedules maintenance with the shop. Brian schedules maintenance with the shop.
Brian 跟维修厂安排保养。
Brian schedules maintenance with the shop. Brian schedules maintenance with the shop. Katie replaces a burned-out headlight. Katie replaces a burned-out headlight.
Katie 更换烧毁的头灯。
Katie replaces a burned-out headlight. Katie replaces a burned-out headlight. Justin tests the air brakes. Justin tests the air brakes.
Justin 测试空气刹车。
Justin tests the air brakes. Justin tests the air brakes. Holly listens for air leaks. Holly listens for air leaks.
Holly 留心是否有漏气声。
Holly listens for air leaks. Holly listens for air leaks. Evan notes a loose mud flap. Evan notes a loose mud flap.
Evan 记下有一片挡泥板松了。
Evan notes a loose mud flap. Evan notes a loose mud flap. Tony cleans out his trailer. Tony cleans out his trailer.
Tony 清理他的拖车内部。
Tony cleans out his trailer. Tony cleans out his trailer. Laura checks for nails on the floor. Laura checks for nails on the floor.
Laura 检查地板上有没有钉子。
Laura checks for nails on the floor. Laura checks for nails on the floor. Sean asks for a lumper at the warehouse. Sean asks for a lumper at the warehouse.
Sean 在仓库要求安排搬运工。
Sean asks for a lumper at the warehouse. Sean asks for a lumper at the warehouse. Wendy gets a receipt for the lumper fee. Wendy gets a receipt for the lumper fee.
Wendy 取得搬运费的收据。
Wendy gets a receipt for the lumper fee. Wendy gets a receipt for the lumper fee. Felix submits receipts to payroll. Felix submits receipts to payroll.
Felix 把收据交给薪资部门。
Felix submits receipts to payroll. Felix submits receipts to payroll. Irene checks her per diem on the app. Irene checks her per diem on the app.
Irene 在 App 上查看她的日津贴。
Irene checks her per diem on the app. Irene checks her per diem on the app. Gary tracks miles for the week. Gary tracks miles for the week.
Gary 记录本周里程。
Gary tracks miles for the week. Gary tracks miles for the week. Rosa reads her pay stub for CPM. Rosa reads her pay stub for CPM.
Rosa 看她的薪资条上的每英里单价 CPM。
Rosa reads her pay stub for CPM. Rosa reads her pay stub for CPM. Oscar requests home time next Friday. Oscar requests home time next Friday.
Oscar 申请下周五返家休息。
Oscar requests home time next Friday. Oscar requests home time next Friday. Quinn plans a reset at home. Quinn plans a reset at home.
Quinn 计划在家进行时数重置。
Quinn plans a reset at home. Quinn plans a reset at home. Peter runs local routes in town. Peter runs local routes in town.
Peter 在市区跑本地路线。
Peter runs local routes in town. Peter runs local routes in town. Dana drives regional on weekdays. Dana drives regional on weekdays.
Dana 平日跑区域线。
Dana drives regional on weekdays. Dana drives regional on weekdays. Carlos runs OTR across many states. Carlos runs OTR across many states.
Carlos 跑长途，跨越多个州。
Carlos runs OTR across many states. Carlos runs OTR across many states. Yara prefers night driving. Yara prefers night driving.
Yara 偏好夜间驾驶。
Yara prefers night driving. Yara prefers night driving. Vivian avoids rush hour when she can. Vivian avoids rush hour when she can.
Vivian 能避免就避开尖峰时段。
Vivian avoids rush hour when she can. Vivian avoids rush hour when she can. Blake slows down in construction zones. Blake slows down in construction zones.
Blake 在施工路段减速。
Blake slows down in construction zones. Blake slows down in construction zones. Heidi watches for sudden lane shifts. Heidi watches for sudden lane shifts.
Heidi 留意临时车道改道。
Heidi watches for sudden lane shifts. Heidi watches for sudden lane shifts. Tara listens for low bridge warnings. Tara listens for low bridge warnings.
Tara 注意低桥限高的警示。
Tara listens for low bridge warnings. Tara listens for low bridge warnings. Micah follows truck routes only. Micah follows truck routes only.
Micah 只走卡车路线。
Micah follows truck routes only. Micah follows truck routes only. Jade avoids roads with weight limits. Jade avoids roads with weight limits.
Jade 避开有重量限制的道路。
Jade avoids roads with weight limits. Jade avoids roads with weight limits. Roman checks for height clearances. Roman checks for height clearances.
Roman 确认路线的高度净空。
Roman checks for height clearances. Roman checks for height clearances. Lana keeps an atlas in the cab. Lana keeps an atlas in the cab.
Lana 在驾驶室放住一本地图册。
Lana keeps an atlas in the cab. Lana keeps an atlas in the cab. Ahmed uses the CB to get traffic info. Ahmed uses the CB to get traffic info.
Ahmed 用 CB 对讲机取得路况资讯。
Ahmed uses the CB to get traffic info. Ahmed uses the CB to get traffic info. Kyla listens on channel 19. Kyla listens on channel 19.
Kyla 收听19频道。
Kyla listens on channel 19. Kyla listens on channel 19. Jorge has a funny CB handle. Jorge has a funny CB handle.
Jorge 有个有趣的 CB 呼号。
Jorge has a funny CB handle. Jorge has a funny CB handle. Casey thanks other drivers on the radio. Casey thanks other drivers on the radio.
Casey 在无线电上向其他驾驶致谢。
Casey thanks other drivers on the radio. Casey thanks other drivers on the radio. Elena parks at a safe rest area. Elena parks at a safe rest area.
Elena 停在安全的休息区。
Elena parks at a safe rest area. Elena parks at a safe rest area. Troy looks for a spot early in the evening. Troy looks for a spot early in the evening.
Troy 傍晚就提早找车位。
Troy looks for a spot early in the evening. Troy looks for a spot early in the evening. Sonia uses cones to mark her truck. Sonia uses cones to mark her truck.
Sonia 用路锥标示她的卡车位置。
Sonia uses cones to mark her truck. Sonia uses cones to mark her truck. Amir keeps the sleeper clean and neat. Amir keeps the sleeper clean and neat.
Amir 保持卧铺舱干净整齐。
Amir keeps the sleeper clean and neat. Amir keeps the sleeper clean and neat. Faith brings a small fridge for food. Faith brings a small fridge for food.
Faith 带一台小冰箱装食物。
Faith brings a small fridge for food. Faith brings a small fridge for food. Lucas heats meals in a microwave. Lucas heats meals in a microwave.
Lucas 用微波炉加热餐点。
Lucas heats meals in a microwave. Lucas heats meals in a microwave.
感谢观看，订阅我们的频道并开启通知，及时获取新视频，持续你的英语学习之旅。